Hello, welcome to another interview podcast. In this pod, I interview Krishna, the creator of Los Merengues TV. Los Merengues TV is a Real Madrid-centric YouTube channel. In this interview, we obviously talk Real Madrid, but we also touch on other topics, such as creating content, dealing with feedback, and his hopes for the channel. So, let's get started.
So I'm Krishna, and I currently do tactical analysis or transfer rumors, topics like that, and also preview and also sometimes review matches on my channel. And at the moment I am like doing it like weekly once because because of my tight schedule I can't really find time to make more than a video a week. But I'm doing the best I can, at least for now.
Yeah, can you explain how you got into YouTube and why you decided to make a Real Madrid channel?
So I used to like in 12th grade I used to like have this friend who would bounce off on several topics related to football. And actually when we were talking a lot about a, a bit deeper than any other common man, like just more than the result, about how they played and how should they have played, etc. So then I wondered why stop here, why limit your knowledge to such a limited domain. And that's how I got into YouTube essentially.
That's really fascinating. That's really interesting. I think a lot of channels mostly start with that. It's usually sometimes just a couple friends talking, and then you realize, well, I kind of have a better opinion than most people. Like, I have something to say, and I kind of want to show that to people to change their minds, or not necessarily change their mind, but kind of broaden their mind, I would say. Let me get into more of the Real Madrid questions, but how and when did you start becoming interested in Real Madrid? I think it's like the fascinating question.
So it's long story short. What happened was actually, so I have an elder brother, and he's like a big fan of Manchester United. So then if you actually take Manchester United, then I did come to know that Cristiano Ronaldo used to play for Manchester United. But by the time I came to know that he played for Manchester United, he was already playing in Real Madrid. So because of him I started following Ronaldo a lot, and started watching him a lot. And I think this started when it was the 2013-14 season, the La Decima, that season.
Mm-hmm.
So in that season essentially I started watching Real Madrid more for Ronaldo. But as seasons went by, the pride for the team just I just gained more and more pride for the team than the player himself. And now that he's gone, I did feel bad, but I have more emotions for Real Madrid than Ronaldo right now.
Yeah, that's. I think that's, if you were to ask me that question, I think that'd be the same question or answer I would have. It started around. I think I became a football fan around 2006, 2007. I saw Ronaldo because he would stick out. You would say, right?
Yeah.
Just flashy and just with everything. And then he moved over to Madrid, and then I kind of just tagged along. And then I remember when I was going through school, everybody was rooting for Barca, and I just wanted to stick out, so I rooted for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, even here in India, you have like more Barcelona fans than Real Madrid fans. So I think that's also a motivation to support Real Madrid. To be on the other side essentially. So that's also one minor factor I would say, but the major reason is Cristiano Ronaldo.
I got a quick question. So you would say you're maybe around like 19 to 20, maybe 18, correct?
Is this my age we're talking about?
Yes.
I am actually turning 18 in December, so I'm still 17.
Oh.
Yeah.
Growing up, or like what you see around you, like is your family, friends, and everything else, are a lot of the Barcelona fans your age, and a lot of the older fans Real Madrid fans? That just kind of came up in my head.
Among my age group,
Mm-hmm.
it's more Barca fans.
Okay.
Most of them are like Barca fans, and they only support Barca because of one player. We know
Mm-hmm.
Messi. So they most of them have that that Messi factor due to which they support Barcelona. Some of them, do, follow the team more than the player himself. But yeah, I have more Barcelona fans.
Yeah, that's fascinating because I assume like all of you kind of grew up with Barcelona being the dominant force in European football.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, if I were in a group of four or five, then one or two of them would be Real Madrid, and probably three or four, would be like Barcelona
Mm.
fans.
Yeah, I can't wait to see in 4 years when Real Madrid's the opposite. When you see kids growing
Yeah,
up with Real Madrid as a
hopefully, yeah,
dominant European force.
yeah, hopefully, yeah.
All right. So I think we touched on the you being a college student, but can you describe the scene or culture of being a Real Madrid fan in India?
Well, India is not really like a footballing nation. It's more. Have you heard of a sport called cricket?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So here it's all about cricket. Everything is about cricket. People go mad for cricket here. So there is, yeah, I think the football support is growing a bit. A bit. I think it's growing exponentially because what I saw like 4 to 5 years ago, I think there are more people who know certain names of players. I think that's progress. I mean, because I want football, which is such a universal sport, to actually be a prominent one here in India too. So yeah, I mean the culture as such, there are only like a selected few who talk about football. Most of them are cricket guys.
So I kind of want to now pivot over to your content, which you can find on YouTube, and it's great. I really do enjoy it. I kind of binged it the other week, and there's one video in particular that I really kind of just focused on. It was the one about Zidane.
Okay.
In that coach, just to play devil's advocate, you kind of had I guess the thesis of the video was you just saying Zidane is a very good coach. You do need his man management skills, but
Hmm.
Real Madrid can't sustain itself just because of his man management skills. And the
Yes.
reason you kind of said they wouldn't, I wouldn't say the reason why, but like a big part of it is of the three Champions Leagues was Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right.
So
So yeah, I mean, so should I like just cover, the should I just like review the video a bit so that I can cover all your points which you've just mentioned?
yes, please.
Yeah. So uh, actually in that video I was just talking about how Zinedine Zidane as a manager, how he was able to do it with a successful team. Actually I wouldn't say that they won so many trophies before he came. Obviously all everything happened after he came, but I think more than him being an awesome manager, I think Cristiano Ronaldo was very underrated as a leader. I mean, you can just watch matches now, especially when you see the attack up front. You have no one leading up front. No one's actually putting themselves into structure or anything like that. But if you even when Ronaldo used to have like a bad game, he was always like dictating game flow and everything on the pitch. I wouldn't say Zidane was a bad manager. I'm not saying that,
Hmm.
but I think he does need that scope for improvement, and I feel he shouldn't be so overrated as such. Because now when Santiago Solari was sacked and Zinedine Zidane was brought back on, I was I was okay. I just brushed past the news, but there were also a few who said that okay, this is our fourth Champions League now. So to actually assume he would do that, I doubt that, because because as a manager, he's not really about tactical philosophy as such. He needs that room to improve, and I think he can now. Actually, I think this is the time he can improve as a manager, because the absence of Ronaldo, now he has to do a lot of groundwork before he actually gets onto the pitch. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's only when you suffer you improve, right? So yeah, my analogy was something like that, that don't massively overrate Zinedine Zidane. I mean, obviously give him time, don't sack him straight away. And I also wanted to let the viewers know that how underrated Ronaldo was as a leader. You can see that from many matches he's played in. It's especially the ones which the ones against Atletico Madrid against Juventus. I'm sorry, the Juventus was Atletico Madrid game, the hat trick one. So he was scoring the goals, agreed, but you should have seen the passion with which he was carrying the team up front. I mean, it was. I think he was really underrated as a leader in that way. Zidane will improve. He will definitely improve. I think we should give him that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point about that in your video, and like there was one specific moment that had nothing to do with Real Madrid. It was actually about the Euros in 2016 when he hobbled off injured within like 20 minutes of the game.
Hmm.
You had set that as a really good example of him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean he does have some scope for improvement definitely. He still has to do a lot of work before he actually gets to the level of great managers like Mourinho or Klopp or probably Guardiola, etc. All that.
I,
So I mean, we should give him time. We should give him time.
Definitely, I think a lot of the talk at the beginning of preseason and just throughout it has just been kind of a little
Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
yeah, even the demoralizing preseason, actually, the problem was he was. See, we can use an argument, saying that okay, was managing a team which was really, whose morale was like so down that they had lost hope and everything. Okay, agreed, but uh, yeah, good manager, he can always switch things up, actually. I mean, in that way, I think, preseason we could have done better. But, it is what it is, and, we did get off to a good start against Celta Vigo, and I hope it continues.
Right. I kind of want to maybe go into a little bit more. Sorry, I want to a little bit more into the content creating part of YouTube, and specifically just your channel. But maybe let's touch a little bit about the comments. Do you moderate any comments? What do you think of the comments? How do you feel about it?
I I don't know. Most of them are appreciation comments for now, but I think as the channel grows, even the negative ones will come up. I think when you're under 100 subscribers, most of your viewers are your friends essentially, and they don't write you off on comments. They'll instead tell you about if you've made a mistake or if it wasn't good. But I'm lucky enough to actually not get so much negativity or hate till now. I've had friends who've supported me constantly, who've kept sharing my content. Even Barca fans, actually, I've had Barca fans who are continuously supporting the content because they thought it's not really fanboying as such. So they did like the content, and they wanted to support it actually. So I think and coming to the comments, I tend to reply to each one of them, because if the channel does grow in the future, you won't be able to reply to all of them, and some of them might be negative ones. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty much positive.
Yeah, that's what I really like about your channel. It's not fanboying over Real Madrid. It's just speaking the facts and giving your opinion about it. But it's nothing where you're glossing over certain topics and saying just your typical things you would see on Twitter. Ronaldo's the goat, Messi sucks,
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. That is just that is just nonsense. You can't say that. I mean, I'll just brief some points on that. Which you've just said. The Ronaldo is amazing. Messi sucks and everything. Um, no matter whose fan you might be, both are amazing players. I think the very first thing that we have to learn is that we have to respect both. They're amazing. They're just out of this world, both of them. Love one, respect both. That thing. I think that fans must learn before they comment on that.
Right, definitely. It's just I think that's what a lot of YouTube channels are popping up now. A lot of the football ones. It's less of the
Yeah,
just fanboying
yeah,
stuff and just becoming more of the analytical thinker of like, well, why is that or stuff like that. I would say
yeah.
it's better than the stuff I think you would see on TV most of the time.
Okay, I mean, I don't have a TV, so I really don't know. I I don't watch TV actually. I don't. I mean, I'm not a big fan of TV. I mean, I watch everything. Yeah, on the internet. I don't watch anything on TV.
Right, but you would still kind of stumble upon like
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get
yeah.
what you're saying.
think you had made a video about James and why he should stay, and I think
Yeah.
today, well, we're recording this before the Real Madrid and Real Madrid game, and this will probably come out after the game. So
Okay.
I think you had made a video about why James should stay, and then if you want to elaborate
Yeah.
on that.
So actually, I've been like a huge admirer of James Rodriguez since he ever came to the club. I think that he's more of that guy, more that kind of guy. I would actually compare him to this quote that once Andrea Pirlo made. Uh, Andrea Pirlo once said that I don't remember the quote exactly, but he did say that um, the feet are just your tools. The brain is with which you run the whole show or something like that. If you remember it or not, I don't know. I don't remember the quote exactly, but I like James because of that one. He has great playmaking skills, and he's I think he's I think he's quite versatile in that sense. He can play as a winger. He can play in the number 10 role, and I think he's been getting that undeserved criticism. And I don't think he deserves to get it because let's see. I mean, his Real Madrid so-called decline. I'm quoting decline. He wasn't really played that much in the decline. If you can see, since the start, since the start of Zidane's tenure, he started getting less and less and less game time. Just because he didn't fit into Zidane's plans. So I mean to say that James has become trash. He doesn't belong here or anything like that. I think that's not really fair, and he deserves a chance. He deserves a chance, and he's really good. I actually like the player. He deserves the chance.
Just to follow up that question, if they decide to play or give more minutes to James, what kind of formation you think you should roll out with him to get the best out of his abilities and to, at the end of the day, get the best
So
out of the team too?
yeah. I think um, so. There are like two sides to this. So I would want James to play, but at the same time, you know, things don't always work in that formation, do they? I mean, the kind of opponent you're facing demands a different formation. So, I wouldn't expect him to start, I mean, when I say that James must play, he must get that decent amount of game time. But, coming to the question that you just asked, to get the best out of James Rodriguez, I think probably, a 4-4-2 diamond, I think. Because I think as a winger, he's not really pacey. He's not really that much. He's not really much of a pacey winger, like probably Vinicius Junior or Gareth Bale. I mean, he's not really pacey. He can create, he can stay in the middle. I mean, in that role, he can really flourish. He can play well in that role. A 4-4-2 diamond, I think, would be good, where he plays the number 10 role.
To kind of just rewind the clock, would you compare him to for as a early 2010s Ozil under the Mourinho days,
Mm-hmm.
or or a completely different player?
I think I would because Ozil, especially in the 2010, no 2012-13, I think it was his. I mean, I think the last season under Mourinho, he was literally, he was just Super Saiyan. He was on another level essentially. Yeah, exactly. I think James will definitely fit that description of a number 10.
I kind of want to ask this question. It's kind of off the outline I sent you earlier, but I don't think this is touched on a lot too much. But what do you think of Real Madrid's, I guess, current plans of buying all these young, youthful players or stockpiling all these young, youthful players?
I think I think it's a I think it's a pretty good thing actually. To be honest, I'm actually impressed with the signings of Takefusa Kubo. I mean, I'm really impressed with that signing, and also Rodrigo. He's shown a bit of promise in the preseason. Even Brahim Diaz too. He was starting. I think during the end of last season, he was like starting. Most of the games under Zidane. So yeah, I think these signings are really good. I mean it's nice to see that Real Madrid are also taking young talent under their belt and actually making a name for them because Real Madrid is not usually that is it? We usually just buy good players and make a team out of that. I mean that's what we are known for, but I think I like when any team grooms young players, and I like that.
Do you think there's maybe a little bit of worry that we could possibly, or Real Madrid could possibly become maybe a Chelsea of past years or Man City of current years, where they stockpile all these young youthful talents, but at the end of the day, the first team is still the first team, and then if you're not 100% or if you're not like the amazing, you're not gonna play here.
I mean, I think that works for any team. I mean, okay, Man City has been, or Man City or Chelsea, has been uh, a prominent example for that. But I mean, I think that applies for any team. You sign a young player. If he plays good, he stays. If he doesn't play, if he doesn't play good, he doesn't stay. I think it works with any top team. And considering that that Real Madrid play Champions League football, the demand from young talent is more. So. Uh, I don't really think I don't think we're a modern day city and all of that. I don't think so.
Right. We haven't seen this player too much of this season and much of preseason, but Luka Jovic. How do you think Zidane should line him up, and how do you think he should be playing throughout the season to get the best out of the team and him himself?
So yeah, Luka Jovic. I think I think he deserves the start. I mean, when I say start, I think it's probably only in a 4-4-2 he can start probably, because I think I'd love to see him play in a 4-4-2 once, because he usually comes in a time where he can't make much of an impact, and I think he's getting wasted in that manner. Uh, at least the recent games we've seen that, and it was I don't know. I mean, he can come really handy in a 4-4-2. He has promise. I mean, he gives a lot of promise that that's there for sure. But yeah, I mean, for now, I think considering his age and everything, he'll be used as a super sub. If you remember in the 16-17 season how Morata was used, if Benzema wasn't giving much of a strike force up front, I think Luka Jovic can come handy then. But to actually become like Benzema, I mean, to play make and to actually also coordinate with the team, tracking back and everything, I think it'll take time. But that's not his role. His role is to stay in find spaces and try to score and everything. I think he has promise. I think he should stay. He should stay definitely.
Right. He is. To me, he's kind of the player people maybe want Benzema to be sometimes, just a lethal goal scorer to get in the box and just score goals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think
I get that.
but I think people, or a lot of Real Madrid fans, and maybe just any random football fan in general, will just miss that Benzema adds so much to the team with his creativity. He's basically
Oh,
a false nine.
definitely. I mean, I wanted to make a video on that actually, but I couldn't find time. But yeah, I think people when they see, I do admit that Benzema's finishing is not so I mean, it's not so great as that of a number nine, but he's just more than just a number nine. He adds a lot. He tracks back, he defends at times, and he also adds with his creativity. So he's not like really a striker. I don't know. I mean, he's more like a center forward to me, not like a striker. I think I see him more in that way. And Benzema, he also gets some undeserved criticism at times. Probably, I think it's only for his finishing. I think if he can improve on that, it'll be like really good.
Right, that's
But we've seen that for years. We've seen that for years. We
right.
know how.
I think that's kind of fascinating as like modern football has evolved. A lot of the players haven't just become their specific role. You're just a striker. You're just a right winger. You're just a center defensive mid. It's kind of just become, well, you do this, but you can also do this, this, and that. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, what you're just saying, like you're just a right winger, you're supposed to do that. You're just a striker, you're supposed to do that. I mean, I think I'm partly with it and partly not, because I've seen people criticize Benzema saying that he's a striker, he should score goals. Okay, I mean, then I mean, you can criticize his finishing, but again, he adds a lot. lot of other things that probably other number nines don't add. You have to keep that in mind too.
Maybe some quick rapid fire questions as we end this. So, who is your favorite Real Madrid player of all time? I think I have an idea, but let me know.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo.
I figured.
I mean, he's the sole reason I've started watching football. So, then I mean, no way anyone else.
Who's your current favorite Madrid player right now on the squad?
I don't really know. I think I do like a bunch of players. I like Luka Modric. I like you know I like Sergio Ramos, obviously. El Capitan, I like him. And yeah, I don't know. I mean the team. I don't see Real Madrid. As a he's my favorite player. That kind of guy. After Ronaldo left, all of that I've stopped seeing that in Real Madrid. I just see Real Madrid as Real Madrid. That's it. So I don't know. I think I like Luka Modric out of most of them.
Yeah. Luka Modric is a likable player, definitely. Who's been your favorite managers since you first started following Madrid? I think there's been, you would say 2013, 2014 was your first season, so I would say
Yeah,
they've been through 4 or 5 managers.
that was amazing. Yeah, that season was amazing. But favorite manager, I think so. If I add a little like a description to this, I usually take only the positives from managers and try to put them together and everything. So if I were to do that, I think the closest pick would be Klopp. The closest pick. I love the way that he has a certain tactical philosophy. I love that how he literally unifies in the club with his passion and everything. I mean, you saw Liverpool, right? I mean, look at the fans and everything. It's basically all of them are one. You never feel that Klopp is being ousted or anything, and he's also producing the results. Agreed. But when you have a manager and also a manager who manages his fans like that, with the passion and everything, even though for a short period of time it doesn't deliver the results, people will still love him and everything. So I think Klopp is the closest answer I can get.
That's a very that's a great choice. I remember when he first started off with Dortmund, everybody loves those Dortmund teams. They were just,
Yeah,
you couldn't hate them.
exactly. And I think Klopp is one kind of guy, he's not really hated as such, unlike Mourinho. People hate him a lot.
Um,
But I admire Mourinho.
Yeah, I think as I come to grow older and less out of the fanboy that I was like when I was younger, when I would just comment and just say stupid stuff. Just
Oh yeah, even I used to do that. I think it was in the 2013-14 season. I think Mourinho he did something stupid to get sent off or something. So I used to not think that rationally, and just because a few guys would slag off Mourinho, I used to go tell everyone that Mourinho is trash, man. Look at him, his attitude and everything. But I mean, as a manager, man, how he thinks. I mean, I think no manager can get near him, man. The way he adapts to different kinds of situations, I don't think anyone can do.
yes, he's like a chameleon. He can just morph into anything he needs to be.
Exactly. I mean, I think I was watching this video where he was explaining this. Do you remember this famous semi-final, the Inter Milan versus Barcelona 3-1 at the San Siro?
I do remember a little bit. I was younger, but I do remember a little bit of that.
No, I mean I've like watched the whole game and I've also watched the highlights of that game, and then went to this YouTube channel. I think I don't know what it was, but he was explaining the tactics of his of Inter Milan when they were playing Barcelona. He was also describing where Messi was playing, where Iniesta, where Pedro, all of those guys were playing. So I literally remember Mourinho saying, so we had this lead and we put the number 9 into the left back position. I mean, who does that? We put the number 9 into the left back position just to get a tactical advantage. I mean, I think that is just, that is just something else. No manager can do that.
Very, very tactically.
Yeah, I mean, very tactically prominent
Mhm.
manager he is.
Right, maybe to move back to Madrid, which of the Champions Leagues was the best? Actually, I get 2 questions. Which of the Champions League teams was the best, and which of the Champions League games to you was your favorite? like the finals.
Okay, so I think uh, let me get this right. So I think I'll start off with the favorite team. I think it was the 16-17 season team. I mean, are we talking about uh, the Zinedine Zidane era or even the Carlo Ancelotti one?
Just any of the Champions League within this decade.
Okay, then probably the 2013-14 Carlo Ancelotti and the 16-17 Zidane one tie for me. I think both of them, both. I think. No, I think it's a 16-17. I think I was like trying to tie between the two, but yeah, it's a 16-17 Zidane team. I'll tell you why, because Real Madrid was so consistent that season that now I think we can agree on one thing, that Real Madrid is trash in the league usually, at least in the past decade.
Very
I mean, like
inconsistent.
we've been trash in the league. We didn't have good league success. We always tumble when it comes to consistency. I think that one season, even though like when Ronaldo wasn't playing in the, I mean he was given rest, if you remember, for the
Hmm.
upcoming Champions League game. I mean, if this, I still remember, Atletico, we were playing them on Wednesday, and on Sunday it was a Leganes game, and we played pretty solidly, and we had a pretty good game against Leganes. I think we won 3-1 that one, but it was a really good game. So yeah, we never dropped points, despite Ronaldo's absence. We kept that consistency, but I don't know when we'll see that consistency again, and I hope that we can see some of that this season. So the 16-17 is the one for me.
Right. And just to go back, kind of piggyback on that question,
Okay.
I believe a reason that team was so strong, that 16-17 team, was because Zidane implemented his Real Madrid B team. In, and when we meant Real Madrid B team, it would be Morata
I get
starting,
you. I get you. I get you.
James
Yeah.
starting. Players that you would say should deserve to start in their own teams, but they were backups. But
Yeah,
the best
exactly,
backups in the
exactly.
world.
Like Luka Jovic, the similar Luka Jovic thing now. I mean, I'm linking this to that.
Yeah.
So Luka Jovic, deserves to be that player in Real Madrid. Probably a bit more played than Morata.
Hmm.
Obviously, you can't. I mean, it's not fair for Luka Jovic to just stay on the bench. We've seen him in the Bundesliga, how how good he's been for an Eintracht Frankfurt. I think. Yeah. Coming back to this one, yeah, the 16-17 one stands out for me among the ones in the past decade.
All right. So let's talk maybe at the finals. Which one of them to you was your favorite? You have the one against Atletico in 2014, the one against Atletico in 2016, the one against Juve in 17, and then two. Actually, now it's almost 1.5 years ago. The one against Liverpool in 2018.
Okay, so uh, the 13-14 final I think is my favorite. The 2014 in Lisbon, I think that's my favorite. And after that, I mean, can I just put this in order? The my
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
my mo- yeah, my most favorite too. Okay, so the 2013-14 stands first for me. After that comes the Juve one in 17, then the 18 Liverpool one, and the 16 in against Atletico, the penalties.
Yeah.
I mean it's really odd because most people would love a nail-biting penalty shootout, but if you watch that game, I think it is one of the most boring finals I've ever watched. I think it was like the Liverpool Tottenham one recently. It was really boring. There were no shots taken. There were no shots taken that much, and the play was just in between the pitch. Me and my brother were watching it. The final, and he actually fell asleep. So, so you can understand how boring that final was. At least to me, it was boring. I don't know how you or the others felt and etc. But the 2016 one for some reason, it's a good win, but not much of a final that I was thrilled for. Thrilled while watching.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. That 16 final was very boring. I remember I watched it with my friends and we were just like, let's just get it over with. Yeah.
Especially when I'm watching a final, I should get the vibe. The final. Oh my God, he's taken another shot. Oh my God, he's taken another shot. Something like that. Excitement.
Right.
So
The
that final. It is what it is. That final happened. We won luckily. And, yeah.
13-14 again is the best because it just
Yeah,
produces
it
so
is the
many
best.
moments. So many
Hands down,
moments.
it is the best.
The the Casillas letting in that goal early on, Diego Costa
Yeah,
getting subbed
I
off.
mean, I didn't expect, Diego Godin to score like that. I didn't expect that was a goal. I was just, watching it because I was just new to football, so I didn't expect, the ball to go like that. I thought it would go over the bar instead, but instead, Casillas went to push it out, and but again, Sergio Ramos, the 93rd minute header, I can never forget that. That
Memorable.
is, yeah, that is the most memorable, thing as a Real Madrid fan, I guess.
Okay, and I guess maybe a couple more questions before we end this. What is your outlook for the season? I know they've played one game so far, and then by the time this comes out, they're gonna play their second game against Real Madrid. So,
Right.
what do you think of it? Like, what are your expectations?
So, I mean, personally, my expectation would be league. I want some league success. I don't really. Okay, I would want them to win the Champions League too. But it's not about that. But I'd really want them to win the league because Real Madrid has been crap at being consistent. Uh, at least in the past decade. I mean, just look at the record. Two league titles in 10 years. What kind of a record is that? And I think Real Madrid, should look to improve that aspect. Even though we don't win the Champions League, I'm fine with it. If people, criticize Zidane for not getting the Champions League, uh, I mean, I wouldn't really care about the Champions League that much, because if he does win the league, for me, I'll just, I'll just want to respect him even more, as a manager, because league successes, even Mourinho, he quoted many times in interviews, I mean, I admire him a bit, so that's why I'm taking this. He always says, you know, a you're the better team when you're like consistent throughout the year and not just the knockouts. I mean, okay, the knockouts you play against the tough teams, I know, agreed, but there are various factors attached to it. There could be referee decisions that could go sideways, or you can have like a small, tiny speck of luck involved, in winning the games, or like when you pull it off. I mean, especially, let's take an example. Do you actually think that Tottenham was a team, which had so much quality in them to reach a Champions League final? For me, it's a definite no. I think Man City was better. Okay, they lost against Tottenham only. That is a different story. But I think being consistent the whole year, is more of a a better thing, and I would want to watch that in Real Madrid.
Right, and I think a lot of fans want to echo the same thing. They want to see consistency because I think if you have this consistency in the league, it eventually will carry over to the Champions League. And yeah, again, the Champions
Exactly.
League, it's a crapshoot. Man City, you would say, has been the best team in Europe, like appearance
Yeah.
wise, for the past 2 years, but they haven't got past the quarterfinals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, oh, yeah, so what I'm saying is that the Champions League might be important, but is not. It is not so important uh, till the extent that you write a team off. I don't think it works that way. At least the Champions League for me. European glory, well, that's an honor, but I think most fans tend to brush it off. But I think that definitely league success is achieving that is really what matters for me, at least.
Right. So maybe two more questions, and then we can just wrap it up. What's your future for the channel? What do you kind of hope to get more in the next coming months, and just more throughout this upcoming season?
Well, currently, I've started this thing called Match Day News. I guess you've watched it already.
Mm-hmm.
I've been making the Match Day News. I've uploaded a second one today. For the moment, it's just like once a week when I come home, and I've also mentioned before that when I come home for the holiday, I mean, when I come home for the weekend, I make the videos. But I would really want to make once a week, twice a week, but my work schedule, or my work schedule doesn't permit me to make more than one. And especially that due to the match day news thing, I've started to make videos with the camera. Now it takes a bit of time for the setup too. So yeah, I think for now, I think it would probably be trying to make it twice a week than just once a week. although I'm not really unhappy of the fact that I'm making it once a week, and and I'm at least thrilled to know. I mean, I'm at least thrilled by the fact that I'm at least being at least able to make a single video a week. And yeah, then just match day news. I would love to make more tactical analysis of the old games that we played, especially the ones where we tactically outsmart the teams. Especially, I think I'm talking about. Do you remember the 2012-13 Copa del Rey semi-final against Barcelona where we won 3-1 at the Camp Nou?
Yes.
So yes, so where Di Maria makes a huge run, a counter attack, and Ronaldo takes it on his chest and he scores with the left. I think I'd love to tactically break down that game and explain it to my viewers a bit. I would love to do such things, go back to the old matches, talk about them a bit, and also probably bring out criticism videos about our own players, about where they should improve or why they don't why they don't deserve to be the name they're given. I mean, why they don't deserve to be so overrated as such. Yeah, so I think I would love to make those kind of videos, but for now I think I would just continue with the match day news, I guess. I've been loving doing that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for
Okay.
now at least.
And then one more final question: where can the listeners find you?
So I have a Twitter account, I have a Twitter handle, I have an Instagram handle, where, but the problem is I'm not very socially that active. I don't really post on them much, but I do have to post, because I need to. When this is a Real Madrid fan channel, I think it's quite important to interact with your fans and interact with your co members or something like that. I think it's important to do that. So yeah, but yeah, Instagram and Twitter, and obviously the YouTube videos.
All right. I think this would be a good way to wrap it up. Anything else you
Yeah.
want to say?
Well, I just like to say that um, I like subscribe to my channel, I guess, because there's more stuff coming up, and as a message to all the Real Madrid fans out there, please don't. Please don't judge. If Real Madrid, gets out in the Champions League. I mean, at a lesser stage, they're expected to, than they're expected to. If you expect them to win, and they exited the quarterfinals itself, don't really write the team off and everything. I think judge them based on consistency. I think that's one important thing that people must know about, and not to judge on knockouts that that which which determine what anything that can happen on any day, something like that.
All right. Thank you.